Hello everyone, this is Lori from Grammy's Keepsakes, and I wanted to share how I made these ephemera holders and writing board. This is not my idea. I saw something very similar on Facebook by Leslie Utting Young. So I believe that she is the originator of the idea. And I want to make sure I give credit. Put that aside. Okay, so what I do first is determine what I want for my base. And I have these index cards that are 5x7. They're very, very sturdy. And so they work great as a writing board. And what I did was I just did a bunch of collaging, and I've had them here in a pile for quite a while. It's just a bunch of different ones. And I used a 1/4 inch rounder and I rounded all the corners. And then I did stitch all the way around all the using contrasting thread. And then I like to ink it. So we'll just use this one. And with all those collage layers, it adds a lot of strength to the writing board. And I'm using vintage photo and do both sides because we're going to use this side for the writing board. So that's good for now. Let's put these others away. We'll do some more inking later. Okay. And now we're going to use some envelopes. And you know the window junk mail envelopes that you get? And I like to use 3 that have the same size and window. Now it doesn't matter what side it's on, like say it's on this side, if the window was the same length. So this one looks like it is, so I could have used this, but let's go with the same. And what I do to determine where to cut that off is measure from the edge to the window, and I come up with about 3/8 of an inch. And so I want 3/8 of an inch on this side plus a 1/2 an inch. And you can just guesstimate. And so I am going to cut it off at 5 inches. Now it can be used, you know, any kind of window. And what you would do if you wanted to use this one is, this is 5/8 of an inch. So I would add 5/8 plus a 1/2 an inch, which is 1 3/8. So I would cut this one off at 6 inches. But you'd need to make sure that your base was wide enough to accommodate. And because I'm using a preset base, that's why I chose not to use the larger envelope window. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these off. at 5 inches. And oh, what I did first was I just brushed it with a tea and coffee dye mix. And I don't need all of it, so I didn't dye all of it. I only want part of it. I am going to keep this part though, and I'm going to make a pocket later. So go ahead and trim that at 5 inches. And do that to all 3. Okay. And now I have to come up and cut it off here at the top. And I like to use a 2.5 inch. So I've got a little bit above the window so that if you want to, you can put labels on your pockets and get a little thumb notch. So I'm going to cut these off at 2.5. And the last one. Okay, let's put this aside. Get my little board so that I know where to, you can see. And now I'm going to use my little scoreboard. You can use anything you want, but I am going to figure out where my 3/8 is. I have it nested up here in the corner, and I put my ruler down, and 3/8, it's right up here at the 4.5. So I'm going to score at 4.5 for all 3 of my pockets. And trying to be careful so I don't go all the way through. Move that aside. Now I'm going to use some little scissors, and I'm going to, where my score mark is here, I don't know if, can you see it? I'm going to trim that, get rid of the bulk. And give it an angle, and the top an angle. And the same thing for each of the 3. That little trim does not need to be perfect at all. And the reason I got rid of that bulk and why it doesn't have to be perfect is because I'm going to fold this flap over to the back so I have a closed pocket. But first, I want to cover the back of this, and so I want to leave it open so I have lots of room. Now to do that, you can use anything you want. Book page, cutoffs, scrapbook paper, music paper, anything you want. And I want to trim it to, let's see, it measures 4.5 with the flap closed. So I'm going to use a scrap that's about 4 1/4 by 2.5. That way I know it's big enough. And I've already got some cut. And this was just an extra print of a digital. So I'm going to go ahead and use glue book and glue stick. I'm using Scotch Create Permanent. I find that it holds up really well. Okay, and now I want to flip it so the window is down, have it opened as far as I can open it, and nest this in there, up along the crease if at all possible. Get all sticky. And if I can get it in there, great. And if I can't, well, that's okay too. And when I'm on camera, of course, it's not going to go right. And stick it down. Because we can trim. As long as that window is covered, who cares? It just doesn't matter. So just trim my excess off. And I have a little bit of excess back here too, so just go ahead and cut it off. And then just apply glue to the flap. And I'm just using art glitter glue. And fold it over. And now you have a new pocket. And let's see if I have better luck with the next one. Figure out which way is up. Got it. And use my bone folder and press it in there. And I just have a little bit to trim this time. And I've found that when I try to use a piece that's not quite 2.5, then I have to make sure that I match my edges at the top. So that's just too much like work. And this is supposed to be fun. So we're going to take the work out of it. So we've got 2. One more. And a little bit of trimming. And fold and glue. So now we have 3 pockets and they're relatively the same size, which is good. Now I want to find the center, and 4 1/2, half of that is 2 1/4, so I'm just going to make a little mark. Because they're going to be lined up, that's why I'm not eyeballing it, because then it would look really goofy, because I can't hit my mark unless I've got it marked. And then I'm going to use a 1-inch circle punch, and I'm just going to go in and take a little thumb notch out of the top. And I don't have it very deep. Maybe a little bit deeper on this one. Now I'm going to take the vintage photo and hit it again, and I'm going to do the sides and the top. And I'm not going to worry about the bottom at this point because only one of the bottoms will show, and I don't know which one yet. My dauber's starting to get a little fluffy, wants to shed. So then now I would just want to determine in what order do I want my pockets. And I'm going to grab the little scoreboard again because I like using the edge. And what I'm going to do now, I have the top one in here, nested in there. I'm going to take the middle one, and where it's open, on the back of it, I'm just going to come across with some glue, about 1/4 of an inch. And now I can use the edge of my scoreboard, and then I'm sure that my pockets are lined up. And I've got a little bit showing here from the top pocket. So now we'll take the next one and glue again here at the top of the back. And try to balance it, getting it nice up against the edge, but making sure that it's somewhat equidistant. We don't need that glue anymore for now. Don't need this. So now we know which one's the bottom, so I'll ink that one up. And then this is going to be put on here. But before we do that, I want to stitch all the way around this, starting up here at the top and coming down and pivoting and back up on this side. But don't stitch here, you won't be able to use your pocket. And I've got this one all ready to go, already stitched. And you can choose to have a top loading pocket or a side, or none at all. I'm going to go with the side. So I don't want glue on this one. I just want it across the top, across the bottom, and this edge. And then just place it. And I head towards the lower portion of it. I don't center it because I can put tall things up here and it'll still have room. Here. And now I have things can fit into my pocket. So I've got a shipping tag, and here's a library card and a tea-dyed glassine envelope. All fun goodies that we can stick in there. And then now you can label your little pockets if you want to or not. And then stuff them full of goodies. Here I've got this roll of original vintage bus tickets. These are fun to use. Put 4 of those in there. And I've got this stamped and cut out Tim Holtz stamp, that ticket, that can go in there. And I've got some original coupons here for the Island Creek stores. So we can put one of those in. And lots of other fun goodies. Here's some of the printables that you can get from Donna at Junk Journal Ideas, I believe it is. So I've already made these and I perforated them so they can go in here. Something fun to play with. And labels are fun, of course. This is just a bunch that I've cut out in the past. Here's a fun label. And can grab a piece of ephemera here too to put down here. And I've got a bunch of tea cards that are wildflowers. So we can pick one of those and put in there. These are pretty. Wood anemone. Oh, wait, no, there was two. This is bugle. We can stick that in there. Oh, and then another thing. I have these itsy bitsy tiny glassine envelopes, and look at the tea cards fit in there so nice. But I like to use these and put some words in and then fold it over and stick it in the pocket. So that would be fun to use. And then of course any other labels and whatnot that you find that you'd like to include. But I want to thank you so much for watching and give it a try. Have a creative day.